Let's talk about math and mayhem. Please forgive the sound, there's a train right behind me. Yes, bell curve. What does this mean? What does this mean? Well, in math and science and analytics, bell curves are just this general shape that gets most of the points. There are a few outliers. There. And there are, but most of them are right in here. So, what does this have to do with anything? Well, Toronto, Van, Parkland, you got all these mass casualty attacks. So, why the bell curve? Well, when we look at the breakdown in the post mortem, the FBI has created a bell curve of what's most likely going to result in some sort of mass spree killing. Here's what they learned. Doesn't matter how. Doesn't matter why. Really, it's irrelevant. What they find is the big majority, this group right here, have unfulfilled narcissism. No, I can't spell. Spell check is your friend, kids. Unfulfilled narcissism. So, what do we see? Yeah, that's exactly what we see in the world. Now, we see this repeatedly, over and over again. We have some sort of narcissist who has mental health problems. They're pushed to a point where they see that they're going to be a complete failure and they're looking for some way to just be famous, go out famous, become infamous. So, in a way, we can blame Parkland on Charlie Manson. Yeah, a lot of people try to blame Marilyn Manson, but he got famous for being obnoxious in other ways. This was one of those people who became famous because of death and mayhem and the coverage that the news brought to it. The sooner that CNN and MSNBC and Fox News stop talking about killers and just speak about the victims, then these people are going to ditch this model because it will not fix this problem. That's the big thing. Columbine. Columbine, we had two kids who were trying to be the anti-heroes in their own action films. When that wasn't enough and they were still being ostracized and beat up by their classmates, what did they do? They tried to be the actual anti-heroes in a real life action film at the expense of the lives of their classmates. Aurora, we had a guy who was clearly out of his head, called himself the Joker, tried to star in his own Dark Knight parody. with real death and mayhem. We keep seeing this over and over again. The guy who went out and killed all those college co-eds at the sorority house. Son of a famous Hollywood producer. Nice guy. Left a manifesto about how being a nice guy couldn't get him laid, and all the girls were paying attention to all the douchebags. So he went out there and killed all the girls. That would get him famous and be the ultimate douchebag, so he'd get all the girls. Yeah. That's not exactly how he put it in his manifesto, but that's the gist of it. So yeah, that's the bell curve. That's the real problem. We see this accomplished with bombs, with knives, with guns. We see this all the time. But we keep seeing it over and over again. Now, granted, there are a few outliers. 1, 2, 3. There are a couple outliers, but this is the big trend we see. So let's stop focusing on the killer. Focus on the victims. Give them the memorial. Give them the airtime. Stop playing into this cycle, because with each one we see more and more coverage, more and more ridiculous coverage. Please